to Choices, a production of First Assembly of God, LNP, Durban Street, Workmanville. We are indeed pleased that you have joined us as always, and we want to encourage you to gather your families together as we view this evening's program. The panel continued their discussion looking at the Superabundant life. We encourage you to stay tuned and be blessed.
We welcome you wherever you view us. We thank you for your viewership week after week. Our prayers is that God will be with you, God will bless you. Invite a friend now, let them know that the program is on. Stay tuned, God bless you.
Last week we addressed the topic of superabundance by noting that it is attainable regardless of your circumstances. We also noted that Jesus makes the difference in your life in terms of transformation and change from your situation. We noted also that the ability to govern yourself or govern oneself is fundamental to your progression and to your family. As we approach Father's Day, we want to address superabundance in relation to fatherhood. Now, we can't run away from the fact that we have a problem with parenting and absence of fathers from the home. You see, a father must be in the home, and as the father is in the home, the father should establish a standard in his home. Every home should have standards which the persons or the members are striving to achieve. And we want to say this time to the children are worthy of protection. While we know you cannot own property in your children, you can see them as your assets, because based upon how you treat them, how you deal with them will determine how they may turn out to be. And the father must be a role model, and the father must have a desire to see the family expanding, grow. I think these are contributory factors for a family to attain the superabundant life. So this evening we want to continue looking at this topic, the superabundance.
We would not want to be accused of bashing fathers, especially on a day like tomorrow, when we'll come together to acknowledge the contributions made by our fathers. But I think there's a real need for a wake-up call in our country, right across the length and breadth of our nation, in every region. We have a challenge, and the problem is that fathers are missing, fathers are absent. We have good fathers. We have fathers who were never given a template, never given a model, never shown a model, but they have stepped up to the plate, and over the last several years they've been working hard to do what they are required to do, and to do it well. And to those fathers, we want to encourage you to keeping on. We want to encourage you to, as a father said to me very many years ago, like 30, 35 years ago, stay in the middle, the runs will come. But you have to stay in the middle. If Tino had only remained in the middle, the improbable would have occurred. And so, Father, you have to stay in the middle, notwithstanding the struggles and the pain and the problems, if you're going to be productive. And so we want to encourage those fathers to keep moving on. To those fathers who are trying to do the impossible, managing several units, or not managing at the same time, or not managing period, just creating many units around the country or around the village, and then retreating to some safe hole and hoping that they will manage themselves. We want to encourage you to wake up from your slumber. Wake up from this nightmare that you're living, because you're contributing to problems not only now but for generations to come. And so we want to look at this whole state of fatherhood in our nation, and we are amazed with how deep our problems are in this regard. And we want to challenge men wherever you are in this country as you view this program, to up your commitment, to be more observant, to teach, to understand the importance of standards. The Caribbean and the world, the cricket-loving world, saw the reaction of a son the other day in England in the test match. He was reacting to a father's rebuke, a standard bearer. A father's a standard bearer. The standard bearer expressed some displeasure. And this was not personal. The standard bearer made an objective remark. This young fella can do better, and you need to do better. We're talking here about Dinesh Ramdin and his father, cricketing father, Sir Vivian Richards. The young man was very disturbed with the standard bearer around the world, cricketing world. Sir Vivian Richards is known. And he expressed an opinion, drew a line, as every father must draw a line like that. This young man performed well. He scored a century in a losing cause. And he lifted his finger, showing the world a hand-scribbled note that he premeditated, and he wrote that. And challenged his father in a very public way. Yeah, he has been rebuked, but this is a very powerful example of how not to rebuke and how not to approach your father. You see, we're living in this world where rules are not understood, and where even standards. Some people, what Sir Vivian was saying, yeah, he was acknowledging mediocrity is a standard, but for you, sir, I have lifted the bar high for you. I want you to do well. I want all of you to do well. Some people become very upset with the physician for diagnosing correctly the problem. It's not the physician got to be vexed with. It's the disease, and let's see how we can solve the problem. Some children get upset with the father for drawing the line. It's not the father must become upset with. It's the dysfunctional nature of how things are. And so once we have clearly established that, we want to start a conversation in every bar. Now, we know you view us in bars. In every bar, in every home, on every tree, in every salon there, where the guys are drinking out in the open. You view us, you have your views. We want to start the discussion. You'd lock down your drinking today and go home and begin to father.
You know, as we continue to look at this conversation, at this discussion about fatherhood in our country, and by extension, further afield, we cannot help but recognizing the problem of so many men who are romancing the problem. You cannot keep romancing the problem. We have to look at the solution. Never mind, you may not have had a good father, but you have to remember that it is your responsibility to take care of those children that God has given to you. So you have to set that new paradigm. Yes, sir, you who are looking at us from the bar, in your home, wherever you're viewing us from, you have to be determined to make that change, set that new paradigm, set the highest standard, and not only set it, but model it before your children, so that you can now set a new leash on life for your family.
Daddy, don't be quiet when you could speak. You know, lots of times we run away from the responsibility that God has literally placed in our hands. And in Guyana, we falter very badly, and I guess around the world, in the art and the skill of parenting. And lots of times we allow our children to grow up by chance. Some of us have even grown up by chance. But Daddy, this is your time. This is your season. This is your opportunity. Like great Sir Viv, when you have the opportunity to speak and the necessity to speak, do not falter. Say it. Speak to the family. Bring order. That is a standard you can establish.
I think one of the problems we have is that many of our men associate being a good father with being a financial provider. It's not limited to financially providing for your family. It goes beyond that. What about values and morals? You know, you must be there for your children. You need to be an example to them. You need to inculcate the values that will take them through life, that will help them to become even better than you are, so that the generations can grow from strength to strength. So more than just working hard and bringing the money home to take care of those material needs, you need to be there to ensure that values are instilled in the lives of your children.
You know, tomorrow can be a bittersweet day for some men, because they can expect a gift coming from, or a present coming from the gift. The gift being that child that God has given you the responsibility of nurturing. You expect that child to bring something to you for you to celebrate Father's Day. What have you given to that child? Can that child look up to you as a role model and really expect leadership? Today, you can do some introspection, and tomorrow you might be able to benefit if you check yourself and then adjust so that you can become what God really wants you to become.
That'll be too soon for a reward, man. I mean, I don't know how many guys should be able to do that kind of correction tonight in order to qualify for some kind of recognition tomorrow. No, it doesn't work that way. It takes time. This fatherhood is a skill. Fatherhood, you don't get it from a university course. It's a life skill that you learn. Young males in a home learn from their father, his work. As he works, they learn how to father, how not to. One of the problems we have, the biggest problem we have in this country, is too many young males have no father to learn from. So they learn from their mother. Okay, you have to, something is very confusing about that picture. The father is a blur. The guy is faster than a mongoose. You can't catch him in the frame. In none of the homes he visits, they cannot capture him in the frame. He moves so fast, and he moves like stealthy. He's like a stealth bomber. He moves only at night, dropping his bombs. And so when he's finished, all over, and some guys have to travel far. They might live in the southern part of the city, but they end up till in the quarantine at nights, and they have to come back again to the city where they work early in the morning. Now you tell me how this man, how is he teaching? Who is he teaching? What message? What is he doing? And you know what? That model is a very popular model in our communities. That is a model that people are saying, I like that man. I like how he's slick. I like how he does the different things. But you see that? That will destroy the future. Because that father, a young male is watching at that father, and he's learning how not to be a good father.
Perhaps the father might be saying, well, I didn't have my father around, and so I did not benefit from a good role model. And it's amazing how lots of men try to take out this thing on their own children in their own environment. So I don't have the need, I don't have to do this. I can just enjoy myself. I can just pass this thing on. But we're saying it got to start with you. We're saying you got to set the example. You got to start from now. And then let's see what happens in the future.
In Genesis 4:9, Jacob, he was a father to his sons. He had 12 sons, and he was at home when they run about the place, and he would capture them, look at them, and know their strengths and the weaknesses. when he was about to go to the Lord, he invited his sons, gather around me. And that fellow, Jacob, spoke to his sons about their life, what would be their destiny, 12 of them. And he could only do that because he was at home.
You know, my father fathered me. My mother played a significant influence in my life, but I can say my father fathered me. I remember how he taught me, he was a cricketer, taught me how to hold a bat, how to play cricket, how to play other games, football, how he took me to teach me how to fish, how to throw a cast net. He made tremendous influence in my life. And if there is one thing that I remember him saying to me was, don't go along with the crowd. You must learn how to be your own man. You must be able to stand up. Not because all the boys doing it mean you must do it. You must be responsible. And you know, manhood is really the level of responsibility you're willing to accept and to carry. And little did I recognize he was actually teaching me to be a good man. You could be a good man too. Don't go along with the crowd. Be responsible.
You know, I want to back up on something that was said earlier about, fathers hopping from home to home and so on. And I think there's a clear call here for fathers to not to set up different units or several units, because we have seen the amount of energy it will take for you to move from unit to unit, the amount of time it will take. And the crux of the matter is that if you're in a state like that, you will not be impacted.
That's true.
You will not be impacted. And you know, I even look at my own situation, as many men here can look at, in terms of I just have one son. And when you look at, the energy and the time and even the resources, financial and all that it takes, that it takes to do what is right, you see how difficult it could become. And so as a man sets up, families all over the place, it perpetuates poverty, and it decreases the strength of the family to really perform. Can you imagine you have children who are going to school and they don't even have a book bag, or they don't even have books? They don't even have a pencil. Somebody in the school had to sorry for them and give them a pencil. These are real scenarios. Why? Because where the children are coming from, there is no finance there. And we still see men feeling great about themselves. We're not bashing them, but we want to bring this, to your consciousness that every time you move from woman to woman and set up family, set up children all over the place, who is going to support those children in their education? Who is going to support them in terms of the values and the training and the teaching that is necessary for them to become? So the time has come for us to wake up and stop perpetuating poverty by concentrating our resources in a particular home and see that home blossoms.
Fatherhood, I believe, is a special gift from God. Fathers, if you don't receive a gift tomorrow, I want to encourage you. You be that special gift to your children. Stay there for them. I remember my father. He fathered with my mother 14 children into one home. And until his death, he stayed there for us. He could not have given us everything that we need, but he gave us the basic in life. He taught us how to work hard, and he provided. And I want to say, fathers, be there for your children. Look out for them. They need you, and be that special gift to them.
I say, hats off to those fathers who have been holding the ball. Don't drop the ball. And to those fathers who, like me long ago, wanted to run around and do all those things that I thought was right. I was encouraged by friends. Yes, I had a father in the house, but he was just a father. He taught what he knew. And some of the values that he taught, I still have them. But at the same time, you might be running around and you don't know how to stop. I made a conscious effort over 15 to 20 years ago when I saw a model. I came to the house of God and I saw a model, and I determined in my heart that I will change. I will change for the benefit of my children. My sons were going down the drain. My daughters were going down the drain. My family was in chaos. But God helped me. If you put your trust in God, if you believe God, God is able, His hands is not too short, and He can see you through. You can raise your children. Remember, don't just think about these children here. Think about the generations to come. The impact that you will have on those children's life, the values that they will inculcate. You can stop now from running around. You can stop now from being that father who's absent and be present. Your name could be marked in that home and you can be a leader in that family, but you have got to make a conscious effort and be determined that I will not run away, but I will father my children with God's help.
But fatherhood is not just being able or having the ability to produce a child. There are more responsibility than that. And one of those responsibilities is to nurture that child, instruct them, give them good guidance, instill moral values into them. You know, you can be compared as being a farmer. If a farmer does not nurture his crops, nothing good will come out of those plants that he has planted. So likewise, if you instill values in your children, I'm certainly sure that when they grow up, they will be highly respected in the community and the world at large.
No, you and I are light. Light expels darkness. Darkness runs away when light turns up. And every father is supposed to be a light to his family and to his children. It helps them to see life and to see where they need to go and how they can actually make it. It causes them to get a hope and a future. But if you and I are not light ourselves, how will we be able to show light to others?
There are families and children who have benefited enormously from being raised in a unit headed by a father and mother. That's a tremendous privilege and blessing to have had an experience like that. But we are speaking to the broken, the dysfunctional families. And you are in the majority. What should we do? Should we accept dysfunction as a standard? Should we accept mediocrity as a standard and say, let's make this a standard? Or should we shoot for a higher standard? It is quite possible. David was in the home in 2 Samuel chapter 13, 14. David was in the home. David was not observant enough. David provided. This is one element of being a father. But teaching, modeling, those are very critical elements of fathering also. I early on said that fathering is a skill. You learn, you improve. Where I am today, I believe I am a much better father than when I started out.
Amen.
And it has a lot to do with your application of concepts and ideas, and you trial and error, you make mistakes, and you improve over time. We want to challenge you. You may not have benefited from a father, from seeing a model close up. David was right there, and one of his sons hatched a plan and raped, incest right there in the household, raped his daughter, his sister. David is their father, right there in that, and he was not observant. Incest is happening in families right across this land at a rate that is staggering, and nobody notices until it's too late. Fathers, we are calling upon you to really become vigilant. I wonder when last you discover what time your children came home. Is there a curfew? No, you say, Pastor, we have no state emergency in every family. In every family, there should be a curfew. from very early, it must be known. You're not going to come in beyond this hour, and you give them the reasons. You teach. It's a standard we're talking about, and this thing can be taught. For me, as a 16-year-old, growing up with his mother as the only authority that I knew for 16 consecutive years, when I got saved, I discovered there was a different template, and it was a real template. For the first time, as I started reading the Bible, I discovered that God's order was different. That God established the authority, the headship in the man. And he has not had any sitting to amend that. That is still the accepted position in the world.
So you see the responsibility that every male man has. And I re-emphasize the responsibility, because being a father is a special assignment from God, and God would require us that we do it according to His standard. If we fall below, we can always recover by going back to the manual and learning again how to become that man, that father that God wants you to be.
You know, we are not unmindful of what the women are doing. We say hats off to you. But the position or the role of a man cannot be replaced by a woman. I'll say it again, the position or the role of a man cannot be replaced. The importance, when a man is absent from the home, his family is exposed. They are without covering. They are in danger. They could be taken advantage of. And so today, it's a good opportunity for us to remind fathers of our role. Sometimes we forget the role that we have to play. And I want to remind us that the role as fathers is very, very important.
I want to suggest, sometimes we spend quite a lot of time celebrating the fact that we have become fathers. But it's not a short-term, or it shouldn't be a short-term celebration. It's a lifetime commitment where we spend time nurturing, training, and making sacrifices so that our offspring can not just be a blessing to our families alone, but to the nation and to the wider world.
I never look forward to a gift on Father's Day. I don't know who set that up, but I tell you something. My greatest gift will be the success of my children. Amen. And I'm waiting to celebrate that over and over again. Listen, happy Father's Day for whatever it is worth. We'll see you next week. God bless you.
Thank you for being part of Choices. Remember, you can join us at First Assembly for any of our regular weekly services. I'm Salisha on behalf of the set, reminding you that your whole life is the sum of your choices. God bless you.